Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Art Whisper 88. First of all, I'd like to greet all those folks who celebrate the Lunar New Year. I want to wish them, or everyone, a Happy New Year. And it's a time of new beginnings. And speaking of new beginnings, I want to do a composition with a theme of circles. And circles have always symbolized completeness and have shown up in ancient history time and time again. Okay, that's the first layer with my Sharpie pen. This is the skinny, for the skinny lines. Now I will do some thicker lines with my Blickcrylic Mars Black. And I will put some in my container. I'm going to have to add some water on this. Just straight out of the jar, it's very thick. I think it was formulated that way on purpose. Okay, this is a little thinner with just a few drops of water. Okay, that's it for the first layer. So you have these lines, thin lines in circular shape, and these thicker black lines to serve as the first layer. So this gets air dried with my trusty desk fan, and I'll allow this to dry so it doesn't blot or smear for the next layer. So I'm going to give this a few minutes and I'll be right back. So don't go away. Okay, it's been about half an hour and the circles are reasonably dry. Turn this on. And my next step is to lay a layer of color. I'm going to start with some unbleached titanium, some cadmium yellow deep, and some azo orange. Okay, so this is going to be a mix. And I will just have a splash of color. And again, I will be using this is the 8-inch brayer. Just make sure there's no stuff on it. Try my best to keep them clean. And I do find that having a wide brayer is more efficient when I'm trying to saturate the plate with an even, thin layer of paint. It applies pressure evenly. I'm using the heel of my brayer to make marks instead of using my stick, and somehow the lines are even finer and thinner. I can modulate the thickness of the lines. Okay. As usual, I will be using Arnhem. And I will leave this on since I'm trying to pick up the circles and lines. I'll leave this on for like 10 minutes. And hopefully this will be a good transfer. It'll be a great way to start the year. I know most people would go out and party and celebrate. I resisted the urge and stayed home and cleaned up my workspace in anticipation for a busy year of filming and making art. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, I think we have a good transfer. Now, before doing this print, I did treat the plate with some mineral oil, and it does pay off. The plate is not as sticky. I mean, it's still sticky, but it eliminates the possibility of tearing, because this plate is saturated with oil. I think I'm very happy with the transfer of the large circles, because I'll show you in a minute. Because the detail has transferred. In fact, I think the detail of the brushwork is more emphasized as a monoprint transfer than if I took a brush and painted the paper directly. There wouldn't be these interesting textures that you see. You see that? I think that is so cool. And I feel like it's almost like a bonus effect by doing this transfer. So again, I will air dry this piece and then decide the next step. Okay, back from a short break, and I was able to look at the first layer carefully, and I was able to assemble some of my reusable stencils. Now, very quickly, I'm going to show you a little hack, because I realized that I was getting more and more stencils. So I got these plastic folders from the discount store. They were like 79 cents a piece. And I labeled all the shapes and put them in. And since these are all cut from the same size, I think it's like an 8 by 10 piece of plastic, they fit perfectly into the pockets. So these are the donuts. Here is what I call the lattice stencils. These are all made from the folders, plastic folders. So they fit right in the pocket. Here are my X shapes. You go in there. And here are the box shapes of rectangles. Like so. So these are an assortment of angular shapes, triangles, rectangles. So I have more of these stencils than I thought because they were getting out of control. So this is a nifty way to organize if you have reusable stencils. Very inexpensive, very easy to do. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Now for this second layer, I'm going to use green oxide and some pewter, some metallic teal. I have never tried this before. This should yield some interesting results. And for some contrast with a lighter color, this is Arctic by Lukas. So I will start with the lighter colors first. And then proceed with the green. Okay, this time I will be using a medium sprayer. I'm going to use a cleaner one. Yeah, this one. Now hopefully this mix of colors will interact nicely with the orange and yellows. Now I am applying this a bit on the heavy side deliberately. I noticed a lot of jelly plate artists like to unload the paint off the brayers on a piece of paper. I prefer not to do that. That's just me. I prefer that the paint stays on the plate. However heavy it is, everyone has a different way of doing things. I'm going to make sure that I don't forget any stencil. Okay, I think I got them all. Here's the last one. And here's to refresh your memory. Here is the first pull. Okay, now let me just go soak my brayer. So it's good to soak them while the paint is still wet. Okay, let's see what we got. I think I misregistered it a little bit. It's a pretty cool result, if I may say so. How do you like that? I think the contrast is effective and it's consistent with, in keeping with the circular shape motif. So pretty cool. So I'm going to air dry this again and decide whether I should add a third layer. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I want to see if I can recover this ghost print. So I'm going to use copper, which is one of my favorite colors. I have 2 stripes of copper. And then some raw sienna. And then some bronze. We'll start with the bronze. So I'm going to have these contrasting stripes of color. Just making sure it's nice and even. And I'm hoping by applying the paint a little more thickly, it's going to soften the layer of paint that's underneath. Now with this Arnhem paper, since it's a little thinner than Somerset, when the paint starts to get absorbed, you can tell there's a shadow. So that's the difference between the dry part and the moist part of the paper. And that's an indication also when it's the right time to pull the paper off, at least in my experience. Of course, if I leave the paper on too long, there's a risk of tearing. But there's a fine line between that and not having a very good transfer if you pull the paper too soon. I can clearly see the shadow of the border because it's absorbing the moisture from the paint. Okay, it's been about 6-7 minutes. Let's see what we got. Very interesting result. It's not as clear cut as I wanted it to be, but it's still an interesting result. This would make a good backdrop for a collage because of its metallic nature, and the blotches or the circles are not very well defined, so it gives it a more atmospheric look. So this gets air dried and I will proceed to the next step. Going to see what happens if I use deep red. Just as an overall. Okay, I've had a chance to wash out the brayers and the stencils. So let's take a peek. Hopefully this will not tear. This might be the most interesting one of all. Very cool. Here's a close-up. Very nice overall texture. I think this would also be a nice background for a collage. And it's got these very vibrant red Chinese colors. These are very auspicious colors in Chinese culture. So anyway, I will air dry this and come back to recap. Okay, I'm just taking a chance on this dried up ghost print. This is the tail end of the leftovers. I have a series of 3 prints, and this is the very last leftover ghost print, and I thought maybe I can salvage it because I find the texture very interesting. Hopefully this will not tear. I really have no idea. So there's one way to find out. Oh, I think this is awesome. These look like tears. They actually are not. They are the leftover paint that is not coming off the plate. But I think the transfer is fantastic. Now this is the result of having the ghost print dry up on the plate, and I took a chance. Maybe I can retrieve it, and I'm very thrilled with this result. Pretty awesome. Very complex texture and surface. I think I'm beginning to get the hang of retrieving the ghost prints. I find that when the layer of paint is thin and I leave it on for a little longer, there's a better chance of creating this texture. I've heard of other artists call it grunge texture, and this is what I was aiming for. I'm pretty thrilled, and I learn something every day. So anyways, I took the chance and I'm glad I did. So I will air dry this and see what I can do with the other 3. So don't go away. So I'm going to try using this metallic teal. This is for the right side. And then pewter in the middle. And then this is gold for the left side. So I'll see how this works. Hopefully there'll be enough contrast. I'll start with the gold. And the gold is fairly transparent. So this piece has more or less a metallic finish to it. Let me add some lines here just to add some more texture. Okay. Let's see what we got. Oh, I like that. The shapes are very clear cut, very well defined, and that was what I was going for. It's pretty cool. So let me see if I can head on to the next. I'll see if I can transfer that. Okay, let's see. Oh, it transferred. And I did press pretty hard. It's pretty cool, huh? I wasn't expecting that. Usually when it's the leftover second print from a ghost print, it's just like little bits and pieces, but pretty much more than that transferred, and I'm happy about that. So that was a success. Here is a close-up. Let's see, the textures are very complex, and the colors kind of weave in and out and blend into each other. That was the look I was aiming for. Oh, pretty cool. Okay, so this takes care of the red piece, and let me take a look at the first one. Now this one might be a standalone because I think it has enough going on, and the color kind of stands on its own. So this I will leave as is. This one I might add a little collage. I'll wait for this to dry and see. The same with this. This could use maybe a little touch of collage here and there. I'll see how this goes. And finally, this one, my grunge piece. This might use some collage as well. So I will see how this goes when it's all dried. So I'll be right back. Okay, back from a short break, I was able to go through my box of scraps for my collage, and I came up with these pieces here, and I think they will work to break up the monotony of the texture, just to give it some visual interest. So I have here pieces of black tissue, which I will mount. Now, even if this piece is very busy and has a lot going on, it's still pretty much a uniform texture. And I think that by adding these collage pieces, it gives a little, kind of like the main subject matter, as opposed to an overall texture, which after a while I don't find very interesting. So let me do the bottom first. I have to be careful because this is fragile and can tear easily. Now this large piece is a leftover of my other collages, and I found it as is. So in many ways it's a found object. There. So here is a close-up. I really like the background. And I think this kind of complicated textured background is very difficult to produce painting wise. I think it can only be done with a monoprint or a jelly plate. So that is print number 1. Now here is print number 2. I decided I want to put this piece here and 3 pieces of black tissue. Just make sure that it lays flat. Okay. Now, in a way, I like mounting the tissue because I don't need to flip it over. I just have to paint over the top and it gets mounted. Okay, that is piece number 2. Here is piece number 3. Okay. Now this collage will integrate better when the glue dries up, so there won't be any kind of sheen from the wet glue. Now this is the first pull. Now I think this is a standalone piece. I don't think it needs any more collage on top of it. So all in all, I actually have 4 prints from this printing session. And I will wait till the other 3 dry, and then I will recap once more. It will be easier to handle them when they're dry. So I'll be right back. Okay, everyone. I've adjusted my camera so you can see the outer edges to get a wider view of each piece. So this is the first pull, and here's a close-up. So now that the print is dry, you can clearly observe the textures. And certain parts have a very thick application of the paint. It adds to the 3D effect of light and shadow. Okay, that is print number 1. Here is, these may not be in sequence, but this is print, the red print. I think this was the second or third. Here's a close-up. Here are the textures. As you can see, these are the ghost prints. And these are the results combined with the collage. Okay. So that is second print. Here is number 3. Let me hold this up so you can see. The metallic has a kind of an impasto effect. This is much like an oil painting with a heavy texture. Okay. So that is print number 3. Here is print number 4. This is the one I like the most. This is a very unexpected result with the grungy background. So here is the background up close. So actually this background is a combination of all 4 together. All the colors all mixed together. And that's why I felt the need to put these black elements to counterbalance the busyness. There we go. So anyways, thank you for coming along for the ride. This is quite a long video. Again, I want to thank you for viewing, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you would like to donate to my PayPal account, please do so to help in production costs. And I do appreciate that very much. I hope to see you next time.